Welcome to today's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast, your channel for super easy, no-nonsense advice on how to declutter and organise your home. Please welcome your hosts, professional organisers Ingrid Jansen and Leslie Spellman.
Hello and welcome listeners to episode 121 of the Declutter Hub podcast. I'm Ingrid.
And I'm Leslie.
If you have clutter and want to sort it out, this is the show for you. Now, in today's episode, Leslie and I are talking about what truly makes you happy. And I'm going to tell you one thing already now, listeners. I'm not going to sing Pharrell Williams with Because I'm Happy. So Leslie, don't even think about putting me in this trap. Because I'm happy, clap along. If
you said you weren't going to do it. Honestly.
But you're like, come on. Okay, so we have that out of the way now. So we can now concentrate on this episode, because otherwise I'm going to be laughing like the whole recording in my head singing Pharrell Williams with actually a song that makes me quite happy. But of course, we need to talk about what truly makes us happy. Now, Leslie, we're generally quite happy people, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to think that I'm generally a kind of happy person. I have my moments where I'm not like everybody. I'm not going to lie. Got quite a lot going on at the moment. And so, the happiness is dipping in and out. But I think in general, we're happy people. So what we're not going to talk about today is the obvious things like family and health and all of those kind of things. We're not talking about that. We're relating happiness to the home, aren't we? So what makes us happy at home when we get down to the real nitty-gritty of day-to-day life? That's what this is all about. Now, why do you think that in general, Ingrid, you and I feel, for the most part, we are, I'm going to keep this real here. We have our tough days in the same way that everybody else does, and we feel overwhelmed in the same way that everybody else does. But in general, I think that we have a sense of happiness and can allow ourselves to be happy because we have a feeling of control, don't we? I don't mean controlling people, although other people might say that was the case, but control of our own lives and our own situations and our own circumstances to a degree, as much as we can then. Yeah. So I think that plays a large part in why I feel generally quite happy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's because we kind of know what's in our diary. We plan ahead. We have a list that we work off of things that we want to achieve on a daily, a weekly, monthly, or yearly basis. So I think that gives us a sense of fulfillment when we can kind of tick things off and let's move on to the next thing. And we've accomplished this. And I feel happy when I get a lot done in a day. I'm like, this was a good day. I got a lot done. Other people might think this was a good day because I was lying on my sofa all day watching TV, and occasionally I give myself permission to do that, not a whole day, maybe a couple of hours, but I have a good day. I feel happy when everything is kind of running smoothly. I'm getting stuff done. Everybody's happy around me. I'm like, okay, great day.
And some people may think that we're a little bit on the strange side. And I get that because that's not what makes everybody tick. But we know through experience that doing certain things around them home gives people a sense of accomplishment and therefore happiness. So everybody knows that we use in the Declutter Hub the Reset Your Home system. And there's a very integral part of our Reset Your Home system, which we like to call day by day. And within the day by day part of our Reset Your Home system, we have what we like to call non-negotiables. And I think once you start getting those non-negotiables done, that kind of sets you up for the day and makes you feel reasonably happy. Would you agree, Ingrid?
Yes. And interestingly enough, it's the small things. It's not massive things. It's the small things, because I think a lot of small things end up being a big difference. It's exactly my non-negotiables every day. Once I've got them done, I'm like, okay, I'm set up for the day. Let's see what else I can accomplish and what else I can do today. But I know if I do those non-negotiables, I'm off to a good start. I know that the rest of the day, I'm going to okay, we're good. Everything else that that's happening today is a good bonus. It's going to be great if I accomplish that. But doing those non-negotiables makes everything flow better. And it's little things. It's not big things.
You're absolutely right, Ingrid. It is those little things that make a difference. And that starts with making your bed in the morning, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, for sure. I mean, for me, I think actually even there's a little tiny step before that. I always like to air my beds. I want to kind of have the sheets all open so my bed can kind of air. And then once I'm dressed, I can kind of put the cushions and the duvet all nice and tidy. So then after that, it's like, yes, I want to go climb into this bed tonight again because it is not all crumpled up. It feels like a good start of the day.
I think it's really interesting you talk about airing the bed, because I feel that that's like a continental thing. Just to say continental makes me laugh as well. Do you remember continental? Like we say it, like, who says that, and what even does that mean? I think it was when we, well, to be fair, we're actually back there now, but aren't we? After Brexit. But anyway, it used to be when we were our own little island and the rest of the continent of Europe used to all get sort of shoved together. And we used to call it on the continent or continental, which is quite strange. Some people still do use that term, don't they? But I don't really know. But I'm just going to use it anyway because it just sprang to mind. I used to study languages at university and lived in Holland, lived in Germany quite a bit. And so I spent time in those countries. And the one thing that always dawned on me was this airing of the quilts every morning, and the duvets, or the comforters, as they call them elsewhere in the world, would get put out on a kind of through the window, definitely taken off the bed. So I do feel like it's a continental, inverted commas, thing to do. Now, I know people do that in this country, but I just wonder, that was kind of the first time that I really came across it. Do you think, is that your experience, Ingrid?
Yeah. I think it's I've traveled extensively over the continent, and especially in Germany, you see it a lot. I think in Switzerland, Austria, Dutch people, we always are. The first thing we do as soon as we open our eyes in the morning, we open a window. It's like, I don't know what this is all about. We open a window and we kind of flick open the duvet so it kind of the bed can air. I don't know, fresh air coming in. I don't know what. There's a whole thing. It's just in my system. I've never known otherwise. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
So you're going to air your bed first, and then you're going to make your bed shortly afterwards. A lot of people do like to air the bed all day as well. So some people don't make the bed, but it's good to kind of smooth the bed down, even if it's airing and it's open almost. Yeah, it's still a good idea for it to be not messy. I think that's really important. And I think the reason why that kind of thing makes us happy is that has a knock-on effect. It's at the start of your day, obviously. You leave your bedroom in a kind of reset way. Even if it's just your bed that's done, all of a sudden that makes a huge difference to the way that a room looks when you leave it. And also then has a huge knock-on effect when you go into bed later in the day, because it feels like an inviting place to get into. And we all need that, don't we, Ingrid?
Yeah, for sure. The second thing I kind of do always is kind of in the morning, unloading the dishwasher. I feel lucky that I've got a dishwasher, that I don't have to hand wash, but I make sure that task is one of the first one that gets done. As soon as I get downstairs, I'm dressed, I'm ready, I've been in the shower. Downstairs, unload the dishwasher, set the table for breakfast, but unload the dishwasher as well. So then the rest of the day, when you come across a cup or a plate or something, you can immediately put it in, and it's just easy.
Yeah. And so if you then, the flip side to that is if you don't do that in the morning and you let your dishes build, so whether you're washing up by hand or whether you're using a dishwasher, if those dishes start to build up, it's a very negative effect, hasn't it? Because all of a sudden that little job becomes a huge overwhelming task that then takes over the whole kitchen. And then when you go in the kitchen to make dinner or lunch or whatever, it's difficult. There's barriers standing in your way. You don't feel as if you really want to do that. And so that has a very negative effect on us. So just something as simple as doing the dishes on a regular basis has a huge impact on positive well-being.
Yeah, and I think connected to that, Leslie, is also I really like to have a clean service. So that's why I think unload that dishwasher so I can put stuff in so all those dishes are not cluttering up my services, because I do want to have space to cut up veg and to cut up chicken for dinner and to make sandwiches for lunch. I need to have that counter space in my kitchen so life can kind of move on. So for me, a clean surface, that doesn't mean I've got nothing. I've got little kettles and things and a microwave, everything that, of course, that's on my counters. But there needs to be room to do food prep.
So you mean really a clear surface,
Yeah,
and a clean surface? It's interesting, really. Because I'm the same as you. Really, I don't have too much out on my work surface because I like space to kind of work. The clean work surface is really important to me, and I feel that it's only me really in the family who sees clean on work surfaces. So the rest of the family seem perfectly oblivious to the fact that there's crumbs and bits of smeared mayonnaise all over that. I'm like, does nobody ever wipe up after themselves? Or is it that's just me then? That's just me that feels like you need to wipe around with a dishcloth at the end of the day and make that work surface clean. It's interesting, isn't it? So they can wash up and they'll put away, but still kind of leave the work surface not wiped down. Now, to me, until that work surface is completely wiped down, the job's not done. Yeah, I can see those crumbs from across the room waiting for me to clean them down. Do you know what I mean? It's really interesting that you mentioned that.
You know what, Leslie? I think I wipe my kitchen surfaces at least 3 times a day. So when I had breakfast, I put away the stuff in the dishwasher. I wipe the table, wipe the surface. After lunch, same thing, same routine. After dinner, doing it all again, because that only then takes me 30 seconds flat. Get the microfiber cloth in a bit of warm water, bit of washing up liquid, boom, wipe it around. Bob's your uncle. But if you don't do that, after 4 days, it's like, then it immediately is like a half an hour scrubbing job because you need to do those tiny little jobs immediately.
You sound happy just describing it, Ingrid.
Yeah,
see
but
what I mean?
It does.
I'm worried now whether this is just us. Please tell us in the comments that some of you feel just as happy by clearing and cleaning a work surface. And something else that we're going to talk about, putting your recycling out. There's something really nice about not having a buildup of stuff hanging around and it's gone to its rightful resting place in the recycling bin, isn't there? Because it's like noise, it's like visual noise in your kitchen. And not all of us have got nice recycling systems in our kitchens, and sometimes we have to hang it on the back door or have a little extra box or leave it on the end of the work surface or whatever that is until we get around. We can't be going out to the bin every 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it builds up, but if we keep in control of that and do that on a daily basis, then, it's that kind of clear space, clear mind, isn't it?
For sure. And I mean, I don't have a lovely recycling system. I wish I had. For me, it's just a plastic tray on my kitchen surface where throughout the day things get in collected. And after dinner, the kids have the job to bring that immediately to the recycling bin, because I just don't want to then, when I come in at night to make myself a cup of tea or get a glass of soda or something, to still look at that recycling. It has to be done on a daily basis, and then it stays manageable. Because if you don't do that, things start to overflow. It's the same with bins. You have to empty your bins on a regular basis, because as soon as you open the bin and you can't put something in it, it then starts to be put down somewhere, and then the buildup starts. So it's those, actually, they're not even big, long tasks, all of these things, but they do give you lots and lots of happiness, I think.
It's simple, isn't it? It's very simple. It's a simple start to the day, and it is that reset. A reset a day keeps the clutter away. I like that. We said that a few weeks ago on the podcast, and I really like that. A reset a day keeps the clutter away. And we all like to keep the clutter away, don't we? Because that makes us happy.
I think the last thing I would like to talk about with non-negotiables is putting on a load of laundry. That is really firmly in my non-negotiables, just about, not every day, but at least 3, 4, 5 days a week, I'm putting a load of laundry on. And this way I can stay on top of it. And the laundry keeps flowing from in the laundry basket, in the machine, then on the rail to dry. Then half of it is going to go into folding, half of it's going to go into ironing. And it kind of keeps moving along. And in the weekend, I always take half an hour to fold all the laundry that's kind of been collected over the week and I haven't had time to do in between. So I then put it all away in one go. So you stay on top of it. I like being on top of things.
So now that we're into our happiness podcast, which is probably very different to other happiness podcasts. I bet there's no other happiness podcast out there that's talking about putting a load of laundry in, to be fair, making people really, really happy. We're not very deep here, are we really? We just keep it at a level. But actually, it's not the doing. Do I get really happy? Yay! Put a load of laundry on, amazing. Am I really happy by that? No. What I'm happy about is the fact that that simple task is done so that I can then focus on what's ahead for my day. It's about that clarity of mind, isn't it? That is what makes us happy. Just getting those little things ticked off the list and so we can move forward with our day.
And you know what? The interesting thing is, like we said before, a whole part of our reset your home system day by day is a really important part of that. And that's why we started live training sessions in our membership to talk about this even more. What does day by day mean? And what do you do daily? And what do you do weekly? And what can you do yearly or monthly? Or how do all these tasks happen so it feels manageable? And our members, they're like, yes, we need to know what you do to stay on top of these things. This is amazing. And that's why they're enjoying the live sessions that we're doing.
And our happiness level is actually through the roof, isn't it? Because we're talking about multiples of these reset things that we're doing. Very, very happy live sessions they are. I think there are other things as well. So that's the kind of the simple things that we do. But then I think there are knock-on effects to kind of decluttering and keeping, let's call it keeping in control of your house, that also make us feel happy, but maybe a little bit more subconscious than tangible, like the ones that we've spoken about. So things like, once your house is back in control and you feel decluttered, you don't feel that stress and shame and embarrassment to invite somebody into your home or to open the front door. And that's priceless, isn't it?
Yes. And I think that is then the deeper level of doing the day by day non-negotiables and doing your decluttering and your organizing. That's when you get into a state of, one of our members, I think, said, I am not embarrassed anymore to open my curtains and to wash my windows, because the living room actually and the bedroom look far more under control. If somebody comes around to knocking, whoever it is, I don't mind opening the front door fully and for them to be able to look into my hallway. That doesn't mean there's nothing in the hallway, but it doesn't look either as everything is in there and it's completely a mess and all over the place. Of course, there's a few bits around. That's absolutely normal. We're not talking about having everything perfect. That's not what this is about. But it's all about, yes, I can open the door and I'm calm about it. I'm not kind of thinking, oh, what can they see? I haven't tidied up. I can't invite them in. I really should invite them in, but I can't because it's such a mess. And all of those things connect to that.
Yeah, completely. I mean, that's a huge in the happiness scale, isn't it, really? That kind of thing, that sort of life-changing thing that happens when you feel back in control of your house. There's something else that I wanted to mention as well, which is we might not know that we feel happy about this, but actually the amount of time that we save when we can find something, we're not wasting time anymore. So the happiness is more about a balance to the negative side of things, isn't it? And these are just little things that are going to actually push up our happiness scale all the time. So being able to find things when you want to find them, when you leave the house in the morning, to be able to find your keys straight away, or find your coat straight away, or find your gloves straight away if it's cold, or a hat, or whatever that might be, or find a letter that you've got to post. Being able to put your hands on those things straight away gives you a feeling of control and makes you feel happy to go out of your house and to do your chores.
I think that is, again, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize will happen once you have less clutter and when you spend time decluttering and organizing your house, that they don't realize how much time there's lost by doing just the normal things. And how much more efficient you can do things because the things you need to do are there and you know what they are. It's so wonderful and gives such a great feeling. But I think that's things that people don't realize that happen once you start to decluttering and organize and go on that path.
Do you know, one of the things that I remember when I decided to do this job, which is like 10, 11 years ago now, I used to get this really quite a strange amount of joy and pleasure out of giving things away to other people. So to the charity shop, or even sometimes to go to the tip or to put things, well, the free cycle wasn't a thing then. But if I could offload some of my unwanted stuff to somebody else that wanted it, then it would make me really, really happy, which is kind of one of the things that subconsciously perhaps led me down this route. But, you know, the interesting thing is, on our Facebook group, every Wednesday, we do something called Wednesday Wins, don't we? So, and people post on there what they've done that week that they're proud of. And so one of the things that comes up all the time is how happy it makes people to give something away, whether that's to donate it to the charity shop or to donate it to somebody who really needs it, to put it on free cycle, all of those things that are also looking at the environment as well, you know, and just recycling things in society, make people really, really happy. It's that sense of accomplishment again, isn't it?
Yeah, we had a really good example after our wardrobe challenge, Leslie, back in November, when we were all decluttering our wardrobes, and somebody had a phone call from a person in her church, because apparently one of the people in her church, their house had burned down, and they were looking for a specific type of size of clothing for the kids and anything. And she was like, "Oh, this is absolutely amazing. I have, just because I've done the wardrobe challenge, I have decluttered these items and they are ready to be donated. So what better place for it to give to somebody that I know from my church that's going to be absolutely desperate for stuff." She's like, she was so delighted, and everybody else in the Facebook group was like, "Yes, this is amazing," because it's just wonderful to help somebody else, isn't it?
Well, we derive a great deal of happiness, don't we, from doing a good deed, is the bottom line. So that's one of the best things that we can do really with this job, is we've bought things along the way that we perhaps never needed or don't need anymore, and we can pass them on to someone who will truly appreciate them. And that is something, you know, that's a really positive benefit of decluttering your stuff as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Very high on the happiness scale, Leslie.
I know. So we have been super happy through this podcast, talking about all the things that make us happy, probably a little bit weirdly, to be fair. I think we might derive slightly more pleasure from some of these things than a lot of people listening. They're like, what? Like putting a load of laundry on makes you happy? I don't think so. Because you've actually got to go through the pain of doing it, haven't you, as well? But apart from that, I think what we're talking about is the fact that feeling in control means that you're not overwhelmed, and taking that overwhelm away is going to push your happiness level up a little bit. And that's the important thing. This is a good thing. We all know it, don't we? We've just got to get ourselves into a place where we actually do it, and we focus on that and we prioritize it. Our happiness, let's face it, is one of the most important things in the world.
I don't know. It's very interesting, Leslie. We, as far as we know, we're only going to live once, so we might as well make the most out of it, and make sure that we feel happy most of the time. Yeah, I mean, nobody's 100% happy all the time, but there's definitely, I think, being in control of your life, in your tasks, in your time, will create that space to do the things you want to do, that make you, maybe that hobby that you've been trying to find the time for. If you do your non-negotiables and you can do them quickly and efficiently, there is time for lots of other fun stuff as well. Some of the chores have to be done. I mean, things, you know, you can't walk around with dirty clothes. I mean, they have to go into the wash at some point. There has to be some sort of system there that they go from dirty to back clean again. But if you can make that efficient, then you've got time to read that book or do that puzzle or do a craft or watch TV or meet a friend or all of those things. I think that really kind of then go up to the next level of happiness. So yes, listeners, I know maybe you're going to see your chores differently now and actually think to themselves as, oh, no, chores. Oh, actually, yes, I have to do them, but they're going to make me happy. So we would love to know from you in the comments, or maybe you want to leave a review for this podcast episode, or maybe you want to email us or tell us in the Facebook group how you feel about this. Has our podcast given you that food for thought? at kind of the start. We're still in January. It's the start of 2021. Let us know. We would love to know. So thanks so much for listening. If you'd like to get more tips and advice, please come and check out our Facebook group, the Declutter Hub community. And of course, if you don't want to miss our next weekly episode, subscribe to the Declutter Hub podcast and comment your notifications each Friday. So thanks for listening and see you next week.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast. Check out declutterhub.com for more inspiration and don't forget to tune in next week.